How's it going, guys? Hope everyone is doing well. I am going to actually be going back to doing some single player streams. It's been a long road in terms of getting that multiplayer server to run. It is at the point I don't need to be in all the games. We're going to be doing an Iran game. This is what I've been wanting to do ever since this focus tree came out. It's a really interesting one. What makes it very unusual in really any focus trees for any HOI4 mod is obviously its size. This thing is pretty big. I mean, it's not like China, right? I mean, it's not this, but it's not far off either. The recent trees added with this update, including Azerbaijan and Armenia, or Azerbaijan, Armenia, and I think Georgia too, they're really good size. What's interesting about Iran though is they don't actually give you any really alternative ideology paths. Is basically the whole thing is you still within basically the religious government to a degree, but it has like opportunity for either going more hardline or conservative or more reformist. It gives you a lot of foreign policy decisions and stuff like that. So although at first when I looked at it, I was a little uncertain because I was like, well, I want to make Persia, or I want to go like pro-Western Iran. Let's take a look at our country. Obviously, Iran in 2000 has been underneath the Ayatollah Khamenei and the hardliner religious government for I think almost 30 years, a little under 20, something like that. Obviously, it was a monarchy prior to its current state underneath the Shah, which was basically backed by the British. He was very close with the British. The Brits had a lot of control over Iran prior to this. Let's take a look at our national spirits to start off with. We are a multi-ethnic state, obviously. We got a lot of different cultural groups within Iran. This is where Victoria 3 has really spoiled me. You know, Victoria 3 and being able to see the individual cultures, religions, the population breakdown, it really does make HOI4 seem a little two-dimensional. Goddamn. Birthplace of the Islamic Revolution, gets more political power and a lot of emerging support. So to ever get another ideology, it will be very difficult. When the last Shah of Iran was overthrown in the 1979 revolution, and the year 2,500 years of Persian monarchy rule came to an end. Out of the popular revolution emerged the Islamic Republic and the Ayatollahs. The once ally of the West became overnight a direct adversary. Iran stands as the beacon for Shia Islam around the globe, but also as a counterforce to Sunni incursion. Axis of resistance. Axis of resistance refers to an informal alliance between Iran, Syria, and Hezbollah. It is a collection of countries that oppose Israeli, Saudi, and Western influence in the Middle East. Obviously, we're very hostile to the West. Iranian brain drain. Iran's ongoing brain drain crisis can be attributed to the compounding effects of multiple factors. Most notably, decades of poor governance, political repression, human rights abuses, bleak economic outlook, corruption, and socio-demographic factors. This will be removed if we raise our GDP per capita or have higher education, which I believe. Corruption of the government. Unfortunately, there is corruption in our government, which has had negative effects on the progress of the country. We must identify the factors of corruption and deal with them. We have a corruption level of 8, which is absolutely brutal. Self-deprecation. This is a statistic in the game, which is pretty interesting. During the programs of foreign media and intelligence services in our country, our nation has found a self-deprecating spirit that makes them underestimate the progress of their country and not be proud of it. The spirit has a great impact on our lack of progress. The Holy Defense. Our war of Iraq in 1980 and the bravery and sacrifices of our fighters have made our nation more unified and in a spirit of martyrdom. We gained a lot of experience from this war, which will help our military forces to fight better today. We have the Concours crisis. The Concours is the Iranian Comprehensive National Interest Exam required for students to enter into tertiary education. While it originally was created to ensure the Islamization of universities, now has become a barrier for those seeking skilled professions and has led to an increased amount of students studying abroad. And ultimately staying abroad, lessening the domestic amount of skilled professionals in the country. Obviously, you don't want your smart people to leave. That creates problems. So we'll have to deal with that for sure. We are a regional power, meaning we're very minor, we're not that strong, and we are a nuclear state. We are obviously Shia. We have stable growth. We have rampant corruption, ruling party. We're the conservatives. That gives us foreign influence defense, so it's harder for countries to get influence on us. Stable society that gives us stability, and patriotism, which gives us war support. In terms of our foreign policy, we're basically hostile to everyone. We're friendly with the al-Assad government in Syria, and we're friendly with Hezbollah. Also, we're a huge rival with the Saudis. They're going to be our #1 enemy. Now, I will say with this game, this isn't going to be a really hardcore roleplay game. I'm not going to do this like some of the MP games I do. But as with any game I do, we are going to make reasonable decisions based on our leadership, our factions. The third development plan. The third post-revolution development plan includes measures and actions for restructuring Iran's state-dominated economy towards a globally oriented market system, and measures dealing with domestic and foreign policies, national security, and cultural endeavors. However, it is too much to realistically complete within 5 years, so we must focus on what portion of the plan to do. 677 billion GDP, really not that good considering we're Iran. GDP per capita of 10,000, not horrible, not good. We are running a pretty big deficit right now. This is primarily due to our welfare spending, which although it's not exorbitant, is there. We're probably going to want to raise our population tax rate. Everything is actually done, besides one thing. For Iran. We can't go without an intelligence agency, can we? So we'll work on that. We have 2 satellites. Pretty cutting edge stuff here. Truly revolutionary on the field of interconnected global systems. 2 satellites, which we'll work on. The third development plan. In order to correct, improve, and reform administrative system in the dimensions of the organizations, we will use this plan. But which should we put more focus on? We're going to focus on our industry, obviously, to start off with. So that's pretty simple. Amidro. Iranian Mines and Mining Industries Development and Renovation Organization, known as Amidro, is a state-owned holding company active in the Iranian mining sector. Amidro has companies in the field of steel, copper, cement, and mineral industries. So we're going to be building up a resource economy. Hopefully, we can make some international partners and export it. So we'll see what we can do with that. Central Bank of Iran warns of possible housing bubble. We regret to inform you that a sizable portion of our expert team are spotting early signs that the Iranian housing market is overheated and could be heading towards a bubble that's ready to burst. Keep in mind that predicting the future is difficult and hard work, so maybe our exports are wrong. We're going to ignore it. We're trying to undergo like a big economic development cycle here, so the government would be really not wanting to make concessions in regards to expansion. IROS, the Iranian Research Organization for Science and Technology, is a comprehensive science policy research center directly attached to the Ministry of Science, Research, and Technology of Iran. The IROS is the biggest research center in Iran, is particularly engaged in development strategies, policies, research and development systems, and alternative energy sources such as solar energy and nuclear energy. Web of Lies is fan-fucking-tastic. This dude is a really, really good dude. We're gonna go for Saeed Shahriari. I'm saying that wrong. Again, I apologize, but we'll go for him. He's a web weaver. First thing we're gonna do, sending him to Saudi Arabia. He is going to be sent there with a mission of basically building us a spy network in the capital of Riyadh and giving us an understanding of what the Saudi government is doing, given they're our greatest rival and biggest existential threat. Let's go ahead and cut our welfare spending. And then we'll go ahead and raise our tax rate. That's really not bringing us a lot of money though. We're going to work on the NIOC next. The National Iranian Oil Company is a state-owned company of Iranian oil and gas which operates in the field of exploration, production, transmission, marketing, and sale of crude oil, natural gas, and gas condensate. We need to make it strong again for economic growth. We'll get PP, we'll get a sieve, and we'll lose more money. But export focus. While it is true that our economy is strong, but that is not enough. We can generate a lot more profit and reap the benefits by focusing on exporting our goods to the international market. We'll get political power, stability, and we'll remove Midro. We'll improve our relationship with our business class. We'll get a 15% increase to trade deal factor, which is really important for an exporter like us. And we get more export revenue, which is very useful. That's not permanent, but it will help in the short term for our economy. Trans-Alborz pipelines. As part of the proposed natural gas pipeline to transfer Iranian gas from the Persian Gulf to European markets, the EGAT-1 gas line, which runs between Rasht and Tabriz, needs to be upgraded to allow for increased use until the completion of the EGAT-9, which would directly connect the South Pars gas field to European markets via Turkey. So we are going to work on getting more exports to Western markets. We're really just going to profit off of them, and it would be useful for us strategically because if we get Europe reliant on our natural gas through pipelines, we have a pretty big card to play. There's been something recent that relates to that. I can't think of what it is though, but I think there's something going on recently related to that concept. Saudi counterintelligence picked them up. God damn it. we don't have any agents we can send him to rescue him either, so he's gonna die in a Saudi prison. Well, we're gonna make some Western export, hopefully, relationships here pretty soon, and with that we can find ways to hopefully compensate for our debt currently. We're deficit building to basically build up our civilian consumer markets and our resource markets for export, which is a little bit risky. We're gonna send him into Saudi Arabia to get our boy, what's his fucking name? To get our boy Saeed out of prison. To Anatolia. Following the original plan, constructing the EGAT-9 towards the city of Bezirgan on the border with Turkey through the Zagros and Anatolian mountains. While difficult due to terrain, will be the most direct way of reaching European markets, even if it is not the most practical or cost-efficient route. I want to keep a close eye on this operation. 12 days. Oh my God, we're in an economic boom. Iran is just economically flourishing right now. The export choice was a good one. We are opening up to friendly markets. We're going to get the Europeans reliant on our natural gas exports. Things are looking pretty good. European Union energy agreements. Now that the route has been planned, we can confirm the deal we had pending and perhaps search for more potential buyers on the continent. We succeeded. All right. Saeed has been broke out of prison in Saudi Arabia. All right. So what's happening right now is once Saeed Shahriari returned home, obviously he got burnt in Saudi Arabia. However, he is a very, very good spy. He's a web of lies weaver. Really just effective guy. We could keep him here in Iran and get him to build up a domestic spy network in Iran. However, what we're going to do is purchase very expensive plastic surgery to get his entire face changed, which will probably take a month, and then we're going to send him back to Saudi Arabia. Renegotiate contracts. The current contracts we have with foreign oil companies concerning use of our oil and gas fields are unfairly skewed to those companies' advantage. To ensure our own prosperity, we must renegotiate the contracts with these companies and perhaps even give exclusive rights to other companies. Our agent died. You know what I didn't realize just now? When Saeed got broken out of jail, he successfully got away, but our recently recruited agent died getting him out of jail. All right, well, we need to replace our lost agent. Let's take a moment of silence for our lost spy. This is good enough. All right, she is good. We'll recruit her. She is absolute top tier. I'm gonna send her to build a network over there as well. Total Energies, a French oil company, has seen a significant investment in the Iranian energy sector since 1990. They have had extensive development rights to the South Pars oil field since they began work on Iran, and we could expand those rights and further develop the field. The French would have greater influence on our domestic affairs due to this. Damascus Spring. A wave of protests have erupted across Syria after the death of the previous president, Hafez al-Assad. People have been demanding a more open and democratic government. The current president, Bashar al-Assad, states that these demonstrators are nothing more than revolutionaries and agents of foreign powers. Let's offer some aid to Syria. What can we give them? We'll ask to establish a military base, and we will send a counter-revolutionary special forces division. The port city of Bushehr is used to be the chief seaport of our country, but due to its lack of rail connections to the interior of the country and its shallow anchorage, it has lost its position as the primary port of Iran. However, this can be remediated via the construction of a railway through the Zagros Mountains and connected with the rest of the country. Lots of infrastructure projects here. Chinese CNPC. The China National Petroleum Corporation is the major national oil and gas corporation of China and one of the largest integrated energy groups in the world. The CNPC becomes increasingly involved in the development of the Suleiman oil field, and we could further allow development projects from them, though China would have greater influence on our domestic affairs. We're going to get up to 100%, and then we're going to get one of our web weavers to just get that quiet intel network to maintain it, and then we're going to start to do some missions. We'll go for Gazprom. PGSC Gazprom is a Russian-majority, state-owned multinational energy corporation that has not historically been involved in our country. However, its success in Russia and its control over European gas lines has proven it is a possible candidate for development of our various oil fields, though Russia would have greater influence on our domestic affairs. All right, cool. Phase 1, Iran. Phase 1 of Iranian domination of Europe and the Middle East was the construction of the EGAT-9 line to use natural gas sales as leverage. but a direct route to Europe via rail would allow for all types of domestically made products to pass into Europe more cheaply than via the seaports. For this reason, we must construct a railway directly to the western border to spread our influence. Zainab Razi has been captured by the Saudi intelligence corps. We're gonna have to break her out of jail. We are gonna fuck around a little bit with Saudi Arabia. We're gonna infiltrate their government, and then we're gonna see what we can get up to completely destabilize them. Said al-Khamenei jokes about Kurdish leader. In a viral video spreading on Twitter and Facebook, Syed Ali Hosseini Khamenei has caught on tape telling a group of ministers the following joke about the Kurdish leader Mossad Barzani. One day, Mossad Barzani was walking around with his camel. Suddenly, Barzani meets an Iranian traveler. Iranian traveler, why in the name of Allah are you walking around with this donkey? Barzani, are you blind? Can you not see this is not a donkey? Traveler, shut up, Barzani. I was talking to the camel. Phase 2. Mediterranean. Now that our westward railway is constructed, we must create a line to the Mediterranean coast and connect with our ally, Hezbollah. This will allow us to send weapons to them without the interference of Israel and without needing to airdrop it. However, we will have to construct these rails ourselves and request the permission of the various governments to allow us to do so. Let's construct an office complex in our capital and more civilian industry down in the oil fields. Parisa Hamoyun is very nice. She's well groomed, a master interrogator, and a safe cracker. She'd be perfect for domestic security, but we'll get her with our next one. Ashfaq Chopra, our double agent. Last time we lost a dude trying to get him out, so I'm a little worried here because he's a really good spy. They both got away. All right, we're good. They both got away. All right, now it's time to infiltrate civilian administration. We'll send Saeed, and then we'll send Hamyon. Her, we will give her some time. We'll put her on counter intel. Give her some time to relax after being in a Saudi prison. Probably needed. Phase 3, Arupa. Now that we have consolidated our influence in Levant, we can finally begin looking towards the southern European countries as the entrance to Europe proper. A proposed rail line through Turkey, connecting our existing lines to Istanbul, would allow us to spread our influence into Turkey, Greece, and Bulgaria via Iranian exports. Redirect funds to the Strait. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most important straits in the world, as most of the exported oil in the global market goes through the narrow channel. Now that we have consolidated power in Anatolia and the Levant, focusing on developing our position there would assist our influence in Arabia. 1 civ, 2 office sectors, and a mill for 39 billion. That's a big price tag, but a very big boon to our economy, so absolutely worth it. Ooh, Saeed has been forced into hiding. While assignment in Saudi Arabia, Saeed was evidently detected by Saudi counterintelligence. The last messages he sent said that he noticed enemy surveillance following him and he was going to execute evasion escape procedures. Well, hopefully he's alright. We did succeed, though. We managed to infiltrate the civilian administration, but Saeed got burnt, so he's gonna have to get more plastic surgery, unfortunately. Which brings us to a very fun one. While he's recovering in 45 days, actually we'll just put him on it, we're gonna prepare to increase corruption within Saudi Arabia. Expand Rajai dockyards. The Shahid Rajai port complex is the primary port of Iran, located in the city of Bandar Abbas. Shahid Rajai port is responsible for 85% of the total loading and unloading carried out at the Iranian ports, handling 70 million tons of cargo annually. Development and expansion of this port is vital, and it sits on the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz and is very strategic. In contrast to the third development plan, this is the first 4-year plan we have planned out, and with 52 major objectives covering everything from cultural, scientific, and technological affairs to social, political, defense, and security topics, and also a foreign policy and diplomatic relations, as well as major economic imperatives. Basically just everything. We once again need to focus on a specific aspect of this ambitious plan. We have succeeded in raising corruption in Saudi Arabia successfully. Good. All right, we are developing the southern region, both in the oil fields and in exports. It makes natural sense that we would also build some more civilian industry down here in the south. Let's see if we can up the infrastructure. Nope, maxed out. Operation Corrupt Saudi 2.0 is the go. Let's do it. We have hit GDP 1 trillion. Yes. So we are going to expand our laboratories. Beautiful. Radical shift in Syria. Oh shit! The Muslim Brotherhood took power. Not probably as preferred as the al-Assad family, but we can cooperate with them. We just massively upped our police spending and intelligence funding, given that we have a giant intelligence network. That makes sense. And given that we're doing an anti-corruption campaign with them right now, also makes sense. So, start breaking ciphers on Saudi. We successfully raised corruption again. What is it at for Saudi? It is up to 7. Let's do it again. We are proving to be very successful increasing corruption within their government. We're just leveraging massive amounts of funds in our intelligence network there to basically just break down the Saudi government. Let's get some counterintelligence going as well. Will this be our 9th? 5, 6, 7. This will be 8. Which means we should be able to get Spy Master after this. Imam Khomeini Airport. Tehran International Airport is the primary international airport of Tehran, the capital city of Iran. Located southwest of Tehran near the localities of Robat Karim and Islamshar, and spread over an area of 13,500 hectares of land. Along with the Murabad Airport is one of the 2 international airports serving Tehran. All right, we're about to send them back into Saudi. Yeah, we're in really good shape. We'll get this network built up in Iraq. And then once we get that extra Spy Master, if we utilize all of our spies, we'll be able to conduct missions in Iraq and Saudi at the same time here. We're going to our automotive industry. The NPO, the National Production Organization of Iran, or NPO, is the policy-making regulatory body of the government to oversee productivity at national, sectoral, and provincial levels, in addition with the purpose of strengthening innovation and productivity in the country. The NPO aims to support research projects and institutions and enhance the university-industry bond. Let's go for it. As great as foreign cars are, it does reduce our own industrial capacity to produce cars, as we rely almost entirely on others to make them for us. We should create our own domestic industry to ensure that our people will always have access to vehicles, even if they are not as luxurious. Today, a large military parade was held in Tehran, and our new equipment was unveiled so that both our nation and Iran's enemies are aware of our high military power. Saipa is an Iranian automaker headquarters in Tehran. The Saipa was established in 1965. It produced, in recent years, have been mostly under-licensed Korean cars and its own engine and range of cars. The United States of America has just declared war on Cuba in response to the war on terror. Bush is like, listen, we could go get oil, or, hear me out, we take this as an opportunity to finally kill fucking Castro. The Tiba is an Iranian car made by Saipa. The car platform has been designed by Saipa. Its safety is reasonable, and its production to service of some 122 local manufacturers have been utilized, and 810 parts have been produced. Encourage rural modernization. The realities of our country have been ignored in every aspect for far too long. And if we are to become a power on the world stage, we will have to encourage the Governor General and the provincial authorities in these underdeveloped provinces to direct efforts at modernization. Bolster friend popularity in the rural areas. All this modernization and development of long ignored regions have made our party much more popular in the rural parts of the country, and as such, we can propagandize what we have done to the other rural parts and urban centers without much effort to increase party loyalty in these areas as well. Hundreds of foreign troops stationed in Syria have been killed or wounded following attack by Islamic extremists. Equipped with small arms, rocket-propelled grenades, and even some armored vehicles, militants managed to inflict heavy damage on the base before retreating. The high casualty rate has been attributed to the poor performance of Syrian troops who failed to warn the military base of the incoming threat and did not take action despite requests for assistance. Syrian forces reportedly underwent a relatively low standard of counterterrorism training, which is one of the features in that game. That's interesting. They've actually made events for that. Well, maybe they were there, I just never noticed them.